Hi guys, I'm going to go over how to do these problems. I'm not going to give you the answers on these, but at least you will have an idea on how to go through this. This first one here, the beanbag toss, it says that we have a rectangle that's 3 feet by 4 feet, and there's 3 circular holes, and each has a radius of 1 foot. What's the probability that a beanbag will randomly pass through one of the holes? So pretty much what I'm looking for, probability is always going to be a fraction. I want the probability that it's going to end up in one of the holes. So I need the area of the 3 circles divided by the total area. The total area for this one is the area of the total rectangle. So you need to make sure you know how to find the area of these shapes. So to find the area of a circle, you're going to do pi r squared. The radius for this circle for each of the circles is 1, so you're going to do pi 1 squared. To find the area of a rectangle, it's just the length times the width. If you read here, the length and the width are 3 times 4. And so make sure you triple this because there's 3 circles divided by 12. So you'll have to do that work. Number 2, it says ninth graders must enroll in one math class. I know that doesn't say one there, but it should say one. In one math class. They never told us how many total ninth graders there are. So for this one, whenever we do probability, you need a total. So that should always be kind of the first thing you look for. The total ninth graders here are going to be these top numbers added up. So you'd have to do 87 plus 36 plus 69 plus 51. So that's going to give you your total. Now, the probability that you randomly pick a kid who's in Algebra 1, I would find however many kids are in Algebra 1, there's 87 of them or just in Algebra 1, and then you need the total number at the bottom. So whatever you got from this total, that's what you put at the bottom. The bottom is always going to be the total. For consumer math, there's 36 kids in that class divided by whatever you got for the total. Put it right there. Now, if you have an or situation, you add. So you're going to add up the number of kids that are in Algebra 1. There's 87 in Algebra 1 plus Intro to Algebra. There's 51. And again, you divide that by the total. That's how you're going to get those answers. Next one. This one's a little bit tricky, and I know some of you guys have been asking about this, but a pet store has 2 different types of birds here. We've got 35 light green ones, 14 females, 21 males. 44 sky blue parakeets, 28 females and 16 males. I want to just randomly go and get a parakeet, and I want the probability that it's going to be female or a sky blue parakeet. So if I look here, so what we're going to do here is I need to figure out how many females, well actually first of all let's figure out how many total birds there are. So the total number of birds, I had 35 green ones plus 44 blue ones. So whatever that gives us. When we're doing the probability here, I need the probability that I get a female bird. So let's see, here's 14 females here. There's 28 females for the blue parakeets. Or I said I'd be happy if I got a blue one. Now I've already included that 28, so I don't want to include it again. So I'm just going to add on the blue males. So that's a little bit tricky there. And then you divide it by whatever you get for the total. All right, next one. It's an experiment here. So pretty much I took a 6-sided die, a pair of dice, but just one of them, and I rolled it 120 times. So right there, I already told you the total. The total is 120. You have to add anything up this time. This chart, I sat there and kept track of, I have a lot of time on my hands. So I rolled a 3 20 times. Or I got a 4 17 times, and then I would just divide that by the total. That would be the probability that I rolled a 3 or a 4. For the next one, the probability that I rolled an even number, let's see, so the even numbers would have been 2, 4, and 6. So 2 I rolled 18 times, 4 I rolled 17 times, and then 6 I rolled 26 times out of the total, 120. And then this last one here, I want anything except for 1. So look at the chart, I want anything except for that 1. So I'd have to add these 5 numbers. So 18 plus 20 plus 17 plus 24 plus 26, all of that divided by 120. I'll let you guys do that work. This next one's a little bit tricky here. In a poll of high school juniors, 6 out of 15 took French, 11 out of 15 took math, 14 out of 15 took French or math. So we've got that like extra kid, I guess, that didn't take anything. So I'm going to try to do this here. So I've got a circle of people who took, we'll call these my French people. And then there's overlaps here. So that's why I'm making these overlap, the Venn diagrams here. And then I've got the kids who took math. Now, I know that this whole French circle is 6 out of 15 kids. And the whole math circle is 11 out of 15 kids. Now, they said that French or math should add up to be 14. If I add French and math right now, I do not get 14. So that's too many. So that must mean that there are overlaps. So now I'm going to take 17 minus the 14 that should be in this circle, and that gives me 3. So that must mean that this inside number should be a 3. So that if I want the probability that they took French or math, or sorry, the probability they took French and math, that's that middle number there, it'd be 3 out of my total 15. And then just change that to a decimal. All right. Next one here. You have an equally likely chance of choosing any integer from 1 to 20. So pretty much like if I had cards and I had a 1 and then a 2 and then a 3 all the way up to 20, I have 20 total numbers. So I've got 20 total numbers. If that was 1 through 30, I'd have 30 total. If it was 1 through 50, I'd have 50 total. So find the probability that I pick an odd number. So think about your odd numbers. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. I'm not going to write down 21 because that's bigger than 1 through 20. So if I look here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of a total of 20 numbers. If I want a multiple of 3, that means I'm going to count by 3s, multiples of 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. I'm not going to write down the 21 though, because again, it's too big. So if I count how many numbers here, I've got 6 out of 20. So that's what multiples of 3 look like. All right, this factor one. Now, remember, a factor looks like this. So if when I did like the factoring bounce thing and I wrote down my 240 and then I would say, okay, I've got 1 and 240, I've got 2 and 120. This is what factors are. So to save a little bit of time for this, I'm going to list them all out separately. Right there, I just wrote them on another piece of paper because I wasn't going to fit them all. So remember, I only want numbers that are between 1 and 20. So some of these numbers are way too big. So I don't want that 240. Yes, it's a factor, but it's too big. That's too big. Too big, too big, too big, too big. So I cross out all the ones that were bigger than 20. And then I'm just going to count all these leftover ones. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 factors of 240 out of a total of 20 different numbers. Okay, now these ones, I know these are all multiple choice. You could probably just guess until you kept getting it right, but just so you know how to do these, if you read all of this, I know it's very wordy, and here's the equation. What it's asking you to do is to plug in 150 for D. So this would just be a basic calculator problem. So wherever I see a D, I'm going to replace it with 150 and then plug that into your calculator and you'll get one of those answers. The next one is talking about the perimeter and the area of a rectangle. So we need to remember what the perimeter of a rectangle is. It's 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. It might be helpful to actually have a picture of a rectangle right here. So just go like this. And I've got the length here, and I've got the width here. Remember, area equals length times width, because we're going to need that next. So if you read this, it said that a rectangle with a perimeter of 30 centimeters is twice as long as it's wide. So we'll just keep the wide W, but then I'm going to call the length 2W because it's twice as wide. So if I go back here, it told me the perimeter is 30, so I can replace the P with a 30. I'm going to leave the W there, but instead of writing L, I'm going to replace it with 2W because the length it's just 2 times the W. You do this work and we can figure out what W is. So that's 2W plus 4W. That gives me 6W divided by 6. W is 5. Now, since I know that W is 5, here W equals 5. If that's 5, then that means that the length has to be 10, and now you should be able to plug that in and find the area. The next one, there's a lot of letters going on in this one. And really in this one, what they're asking you to do is to solve for t. So I would tell you to go ahead and cross multiply. I know it's going to just be a lot of letters here, but if I multiply here, I've got 2t times x is equal to 3p times y. If you want to get the t by itself, all you need to do is divide by 2x. The 2's cross out, the x's cross out. Your t is by itself, and you should see that answer on there. One more. Okay, this one's talking about mean and median. For the mean, you add up all the numbers and you divide by however many there are. So there's 5 numbers, but they only gave us 4. So I'm going to call the 5th number x. Now, if I'm going to do the mean, here's what I do. I do 14 plus 8 plus 16 plus 14, and I don't know that 5th number, so I'm just going to put plus x, and I'm going to divide by 5 because there's 5 numbers. It says it's equal to the median, but I don't know what the median is, so I need to go and figure this out. Remember, median is middle number. So to find the middle number, we have to put these in order. Now, I don't know if x is the biggest, the smallest, or in the middle. So let's start with it being the smallest number. Here's x. If that's the smallest, then I've got an 8, and then I've got 14, and then I've got 14, and then I've got 16. Notice the middle number is 14. What if I move that x to the end and pretend like it's the biggest number? Look at the middle is still 14. No matter where you put that x, the median is going to equal 14. So I can put it there and then solve this. If you add up these numbers, I think you get 52 plus x divided by 5 is equal to 14. Remember, if you have a fraction, you just multiply both sides by the denominator. So 52 plus x is equal to 70. I'll let you finish that up. X is equal to one of those numbers. All right, I hope that helped, guys. Let me know if you have any other questions.